Good morning, all. Second trading day of the new year, January the 4th. We appear to be carrying on from where we left off yesterday. We're higher across the board. As I look around here, we see Apple back at trading right now, right at that $3 trillion mark pre-market. Obviously, that got all the press yesterday, other than Tesla. So Tesla kind of stole Apple's thunder, didn't it, yesterday? Other news, and this is overhanging on the other side, is that COVID cases still run rampant. Over 1 million cases yesterday. Wasn't that all meant to be gone by now? But seriously, though, Omicron, though it is considered a much milder version, it is creating havoc as far as workplaces. Those testing positive, not going to work. We see flights, and the like, all travel arrangements being curtailed. And there is, this is a global thing you read on Britain, which is going back to work today, particularly under siege. They're saying, there's emergency meetings for 1 out of 4 essential services are going to be out of work. So we've got all that in the background there. So let's look at the other big story, of course, is oil and the OPEC Plus meeting. For those not from oil, that simply means the OPEC plus Russia. So that meeting is about to go in about an hour. So the GMAC, which is the advisory meeting, apparently just wrapped up, and they are not making any recommendations. They're going to leave it all to the main gig there. So we're seeing oil, as a result, trade up just under $77. You can see over here, have a look at the 5-minute chart there. And you can see that's banging out new highs here. Well, most people should be back at work pretty much now. But this tends to move very much in every little OPEC truth bomb or fear bomb. It's got a lot better, but basically had an area where journalists or Twitter people would put out news just for the sake of it and not necessarily true, and that would cause big moves. Lots of theories on that. We can see the low overnight, early morning was the pivot, and we've traded up here just short of the R1. Really, what's your news flow there? As far as our daily goes that we've been watching, remember we reversed yesterday, just shy of that Tenkin. We came off, and we're right at that crevice now. So we can comfortably break up into new territory now. We were doing the sideways. It obviously right at resistance, so it needs to achieve that first. If we look at the hourly, nothing really new. Look at this. We're at the 50 on the hourly, but this is 1, 2, 3 highs here. So that's a lot to get through, and that's what our daily is showing us. Remember what we just saw. As far as natural gas goes, interesting tweet on the timeline there from Javier Blasov, and you can see just how volatile that is over in England and Holland, or Europe generally, of course. So on the daily for us, nothing really new, but we are above the Tenkin. So remember, this is in Europe, but we are heading into the coldest part of the season. So it's a question whether that can continue further. It's been bizarre weather in some places. Down here in Texas, less than a week ago we're on air conditioners, and yesterday it was freezing. That's down in Houston. I know it's a lot colder elsewhere, so with snow and etc. Breaking trees, I heard Mayhem was saying yesterday, so where he lives. And so, as far as that goes, just keep really close. You just play the grid on it. It trades very well on your natural gas. And you can see we're up like a few cents here, about 6 cents right now. So similar, it's trading around the mean, which is the 50 in this situation. We broke this high and we're just sitting above it. So that's your natural gas. You pretty well know your levels there. Okay, back to the S&P, our main little toy outside of oil, for want of a better word. Very nice pattern here on the daily. It's all been pretty well consistent. We saw this at ABC. We're pushing higher, and it's doing it at a moderate speed, which is healthy. It does two things though. I did the put calls. I saw so yesterday the put call was really, really low. That's also a little bit to do that we just rolled over to the start of the year. So a lot of those sort of things can be distorted. We'll see how it finishes up today or tomorrow, whether that is in fact symbolic of no fear. We do have some big events this week, particularly the jobs number. So one would suspect more like protection getting put on for that. And is the market long yet? Are they short? It's difficult to tell this early. So just stick to individual disciplines. And we know yesterday much of it was Apple and Tesla, and I must have seen a multitude of tweets, etc. Generally, people not. Just beware where it comes from. Analysts on TV saying it's all Tesla, all Apple, whatever it is the market. It is the market, right? And so often when I see that, that tends to be someone who, to me, is not long or missing out or short and giving a justification why it may come down. It may not or may not. That's just all supplanter. What happens today and the next day is relevant. So just stick to your overall. It does get tiring. Looking at some of it 100%. Anyway, so just keep to that on you. You know where we are. We're approaching 8/8 is all the way up here. So there is that on the daily. As they say, count your ways. Here's what I'm really looking at more than anything, rather than what someone hopes or wishes they are. That was kind of the point I was trying to make. So we are now riding the top of this, but we're not really getting away from it, are we? Really need, and a lot of this is, if you look at this, we got this highs up here. We're really just testing that. So in the last, and we saw this in the Dow yesterday, we did fail to get over to new highs. We did create new highs, but we didn't close above it in a couple of these indices. So does it accelerate from that? Today's a full day. Everyone's back as far as globally, whether they're all back at trading. So it's a bit of look and see. We do have jobs, as I said, on Friday. Some people may be waiting for that. Fair enough. And there may be people also with what we saw the rout in Treasury bonds yesterday and the minutes coming up from the FOMC, the last FOMC. There are plenty of reasons to not be in things. So don't think everyone's all in and you're missing out, and you know, you can be long or short, just trade. That's why we use a system. Okay, on 5 minutes we see it got slightly overextended and we've come back. That's 3/8. So look, so we're getting these rinses both ways. So that's keeping the market overall in balance. It's not as if it's not just going one way, up and down. You can see I'm watching Apple here pre-season. We did get as high as 183.38 pre, but here we are just up 50 cents and under that level. So you can see a lot going on. There's a lot of profit taking because it did, you know, buy the rumor, sell the fact. So that going on, but it hasn't come off a lot. It did come off about a point from that yesterday, maybe a bit more. So that's going to be one to watch. As far as the disappointment continually is the small cap, not unsuspecting, but it is back to almost to that height yesterday that it retraced. And remember, this also has a mixture of unprofitable companies. We have the other small cap index. I'm trying to think what it is, so I can direct it to you. Has the profitable companies, whereas the Russell doesn't. So that's another thing that people have been watching and do watch out there. So keep all that in mind. And finally, the NASDAQ. This thing was a bit of a beast yesterday because of all the big caps. And we got a good summary there on last night's wrap. And we can see very similar to the S&P, but we are getting thwarted. It's not as if people aren't getting short or taking profit. So keep that in mind. And really, it's the direction we come from lower down. Okay, that's a quick look at the charts. Nothing's really changed. We don't need to spend too much time on that. So keep an eye on for oil. We're going to keep an eye on OPEC numbers. As far as we go in the stock market today, of note is going to be the ISM manufacturing number. That's the big number out at 10 Eastern, 9. I'm going to watch JOLTS as well because we have jobs out on Friday, so you want to keep an eye on JOLTS. You want to keep an eye out on the ADP tomorrow, and on Thursday we're going to have the jobless claims numbers. We have, as far as bonds go, we just have a 4 and an 8 week. And just to keep us going on oil, we have the API number at 3:30 Central, 4:30 Eastern, and that's pretty well it. Lots of good stuff on the website to keep you up to date what's going on overnight. And that's really it. So have a wonderful day. We will speak to you later. Good luck. Stay tight. Trade smart. And remember, this is just the start of the year. So it's a long year ahead. You don't have to punt it or make your investment all today. Thank you. And thanks for joining.